Designed them to be trusted with our homes, with our way of life, with our world. But did we design them to be trusted?
The rollout of USR's new generation of robot, the NS5, was marred by the death of designer Alfred Lanning.
Identifier. Murder's a new trick for a robot. Respond.
He don't murder him!
We're gonna miss the good old days.
What good old days?
When people were killed by other people.
My robots don't kill people.
That thing threw somebody out of a window. Is that registering with you?
A robot cannot harm a human being.
And you trust them if you want to.
We look to robots for protection. Imagine the loss of all that we've gained because of an irrational paranoia.
Does thinking you're the last sane man on the face of the earth make you crazy? Because if it does, maybe I am.
Maybe you can be looking in the shadows all the time.
You're on the inside. Help me find out what is wrong with these robots.
Dr. Lanning
suggested robots might naturally evolve.
I was hoping to see you again, Detective. Think of me as your friend.
Why didn't you just hand the world over on a silver platter?
Maybe we did.
We are on the eve of the largest robotic distribution in history. There will be one robot to every 5 humans.
How many robots have ever committed a crime? How many robots in the world?
None.
There is no conspiracy. What this is one mistake.
Oh, hell no. Somehow, I told you so just doesn't quite say it.
Get off my car!
I see you remain suspicious of me, Detective.
You know what they say about old dogs?
Not really.
Gotcha.
If you've got an X and Y chromosome, with the resultant hairy chest, it's a pretty good bet that you fancied yourself at the controls of one of these things. And it's a pretty safe bet that the closest you'll ever get is a computer and a CD-ROM. However, that's a lot closer than most rats get, unless they live here at the University of Florida. You see, it's this little chap and his mates, or rather cells from their brain, that are in charge of flying this simulator. It's all the work of Dr. DeMaas, a neuroscientist who's interested not only in how the neurons in brains work, but in finding out ways of making them work for us.
The basic goal of this experiment was to study ways that you could interface a neural culture, a living neural culture, to a device, an airplane, and have it learn to fly.
What Dr. DeMaas has done is got the neurons in this dish to think. That's right. No one has told them how to fly a plane. They've worked it out by themselves. So how do you make a rat-brained pilot?
We take a little bit of tissue from the rat's cortex. So if you think of a brain, you have the wrinkly portion of your brain. We take a little bit of that tissue and we digest it with an enzyme to essentially give us the individual neurons separated into a liquid.
This brain soup, literally 25,000 individual unconnected neurons, is placed on top of a matrix of 60 electrodes. Dr. DeMaas now has the beginnings of a brain that's ready to teach itself to fly. All he has to do is plug the matrix into his computer and set the program off. Almost immediately, the individual neurons begin to form a complex network, the beginnings of a thinking brain. What's happening is that the cells are receiving signals from the computer, and sending their own signals back to the computer. If they send the wrong signals, then this happens. But with time, the neurons manage to form a network that will react correctly to the incoming signals and so keep the plane in the air.
Ooh, I can fly!
In fact, this mini brain can get so good that it can negotiate mountain ranges and thunderstorms like the best Top Guns around.
I think the most enjoyable part about that particular experiment was the fact that you could take a collection of neurons who didn't know how to do anything and then provide inputs so that over time it could learn to do something. Right? So in the end, you can take one of these networks, plug it into the system, right, and it can fly. It can fly the plane.
You'll be pleased to know that Dr. DeMars isn't proposing that the next generation of Boeings are piloted by a dish of rat brain. But what this pink rat cyborg is doing is to help lift the lid on the way the brain learns at a cellular level. So perhaps in the future, when a real pilot does this and gets a dunk on the head, we may have a better idea of how to fix him up and get him flying again.
Straight out of a sci-fi movie and into reality, the U.S. military wants robots. In today's Big Eye, we want to show you what the future of war could look like. First, let's start with who is in charge of technology developments for the military. That is the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, an agency that is the stuff of mystery novels. And recently, we've noticed they've been beefing up on robots. Most recently, they contracted with Boston Dynamics to create a cheetah robot. Check that out. Look at this drawing. It's a four-legged robot that reportedly runs faster than the fastest human. Boston Dynamics also says it will be able to zigzag and take tight turns in order to, quote, chase and evade. It'll also be able to make sudden stops and could end up with a tail. Boston Dynamics, this is the Atlas, also made by Boston Dynamics. It looks a bit like the Terminator from the movies, but without the head. This robot will reportedly be able to walk like a person, even over rough terrain. We could also see it crawling around on its hands and knees. The Atlas was spawned from Boston Dynamics' work on this robot called Petman.
American soldiers are well trained and physically fit, but they're still vulnerable. The human machine gets tired, needs rest, and performs only within the limitations of flesh and bones. But Rex Jameson here is stepping inside a robotic exoskeleton that mirrors or mimics everything he wants to do. 200-pound pull-downs, no sweat.
We did this 500 times till we got bored, so I could basically do it, ad nauseum.
And you're not even out of breath now.
No.
Not out of breath, not weary, no muscle pains or strains. If Rex needs to pull away from the exoskeleton to do something on his own, it just floats and waits for his return.
I can, go ahead and do whatever I need to do, and
when you're ready to.
And when I'm ready, just grab it and away we go.
It's taken Utah-based Sarcos 6 years to get to this point, but the technicians and engineers here who've pulled this off have been designing and polishing robots for decades. Each one of these ammo cans weighs 72 pounds. Imagine trying to lift 150 to 200 of these onto this pallet. Commanding his exoskeleton, Rex does it. In this round robin, lifting 35-pound canisters. Several of us moving as fast as we can't keep up. Look at Steve Emero's forehead. How worn out are you right now?
I don't feel like I could keep going, but I bet Rex can.
Lifting 200-pound weights, piece of cake. Walking upstairs, no problem. Running, walking on your heels, prancing and dancing, taking on a ramp, the list goes on. Meshed with exoskeleton, Rex punches this bag with just the right amount of strength. From enough grace to gently play ball, to enough superpower to load a missile on an airplane. Exoskeleton does it all.
He uses get-out-of-way control, which follows from his end effectors, the feet and the hands, and the machine will just follow where he goes.
During these experiments, the prototype is tethered. There's also a safety line as a precaution, but the end product will be 100% portable with its own backpack power. And the skeletons in various models will be covered, offering different levels of protection for the soldier inside. Circuitry boards for every part of the body, flexible robotic joints that mimic every movement. Eventually, exoskeletons could even become autonomous, allowing the soldier to step out, then to go on and perform a task on its own.
If you step out of it, it becomes a humanoid robot. If you step into it, it becomes a teleoperated robot. It becomes a superhero, superhuman strength.